I'm just going to record this one to the computer. Welcome, everybody. It is June 26th, Wednesday. Wednesdays move fast for us. I was just saying that time only moves fast when you're waiting for the webinar to begin. Because when you're working out, the minutes seem to take a lot longer. I don't know why that is. Welcome. We are so excited today because we get a lot of questions on the Starchart, like a ton of questions on the Starchart. I think even people that have been through the program a couple of times still come back with misunderstandings about the Starchart. And I think it's because it's so simple that we miss the simplicity of it, right? We tend to, in our human minds, complicate things. And not only that, for the last 85 years or so, we have been trained to parent backwards. So it's not anybody's fault. We've been taught chore charts, boundary charts, rule charts, expectations. We've been taught to tell the child everything that they do that's wrong and all this stuff. So when we put up a chore chart, who is the chore chart for? Whose goals are on a chore chart or a boundary chart or rules? We post rules and we want expectations. Who are all those charts for? Tammy says the parents. Does everybody concur? Looking for more interaction. Better get running from the kitchen to your keyboard. Trust me, I've been a guest on a lot of webinars. Rhiannon says both. Ruth says yes, definitely. Okay, so I get for the parents and the kids. Okay. Chore chart, how is it for the parents, you guys? If you're answering for the parents, the kids, if you're answering for the kids or for both, like Rhiannon and Ken, how is it for the kids? What do you mean by that? I'd like to have a little bit more interaction there. I don't want to talk anymore until I get an answer. The chores are what we want done. What we want. It's what we want to see. Okay, yeah. All right. So we're up. We put a chore chart up so that our kids will know what you want them to do. Right? It's all based around what you want. And for whatever reason, I don't know how we ever got here as a society to think that children just come out of the womb ready to put on their follower cap and just do whatever you tell them to do. I don't know wherever we got that idea from. Both parents and children, but a win-win solution. Well, that's what the Starchart is. Well, the Starchart is actually all about the child's paycheck, right? So, but I don't know how we ever got to the point where we think, where we ever even get the idea that this little spirit inside this little mini body is here just to be at our beck and call, just to listen just because we said so. It's almost like we are treating our kids like they're our family pet or something, right? The dogs have rules. The cat has rules, right? Don't claw on the couch. You claw over here. But the thing is with kids is we don't own them. They're not, an accessory. They're not a family pet. They have a spirit inside of them as strong as your spirit is inside of you right now. One thing that my mom told me, and this was probably about 20 years ago, she's like, I'm 45, which is younger than what I am right now. She goes, I'm 45, but I don't feel older. Like my body obviously feels older, but my mind or my thoughts don't feel older. I feel like the same person that I've always been. And if you look in the mirror and you ask yourself that question, aren't you the same person that you've always been? You have this little spirit inside of you, whatever it is. And, some people are called introverts, some are called extroverts, some people will be shy, some will be outgoing. We all have different personality traits. But our spirits are all the same. We're created in the image of our creator. That's what scripture says. And every single personal development guru and every single different religion will teach you the same thing, that we are kind of born from our creator. We know that there's a spirit because we can pick things up on an intuitive level. That's where emotions come from. We're emotional beings. We're spiritual beings. And inside that little 3-year-old or 4-year-old is a mini you that has zero life experience. They've not had anything happen to them in their world. They've probably never fallen down the stairs. They have no idea what you're protecting them from the stairs. They've never touched like a hot burner. So when you say, don't touch, that's hot, don't touch, that's hot, they have no idea what you're saying. You have these little itty bitty mini you beings inside of this little body with a big, gigantic spirit. And that spirit is born, like the only thing that we're born with instinctually is, well, we can cry when we're hungry. And we're born instinctually with a desire to grow. Right? To become more, to experience our world. Children are instinctually curious because it's their curious nature that leads them to knowledge, to learn what it's about. And so when we're taking our mindset and we're going from the old us, the chore charts, the boundary charts, the rule charts, the expectation charts, and all these other things that are parent or adult focused, the star chart is all about the child. It's their paycheck. And before I pass it over to Tom here, I want to mention this as well. I believe that when you're new, it's easy to go, okay, so we have this star chart. Now we need to put extra privileges on the star chart, like going to the zoo or going to a movie or ice skating or to the park or whatever. Yeah, that's all bribery. You got to be very careful with that. But don't worry. I've been caught in that as well. Offered my daughter a trip to Mexico and drew out this whole chore chart that was obviously focused more on what we wanted than what she wanted because she never asked to go to Mexico. But when I offered it to her, she was like all excited and everything. But then she didn't like follow protocol, so she didn't earn her way to Mexico, and it kind of put me in this position where I set it up to hurt her more than setting it up to help her. And then when she got a $30 hair straightener for Christmas from grandma, she said, I would have worked for that. I would have done everything you wanted me to for the hair straightener, but not for Mexico. Do you guys see the difference in what I'm saying? If yes, say yes. Is there a difference there? Yeah. There's a difference between bribing our child with bigger things that we think they're going to be excited about and then wondering why. Yes, for sure. Okay. And then we wonder why they're not engaged or they don't seem to care. But I'm talking a privilege would be brown sugar on oatmeal, ketchup on a hot dog, juice or chocolate milk with dinner instead of water. Actually, sitting at the dinner table with the family would be considered a privilege. And for some, we do have to go down the rabbit hole that deep in order to motivate, especially if the child has already had years at an ADHD or ODD diagnosis. If they're oppositionally defiant, it's going to take some time to instill new habits in them, right? But it's not going to take as much time as you think. And when we get this star chart down pat correct, when we can see it from the right, most positive and proactive perspective, then it will actually work for you, and it will actually work to inspire your child to step up. Oh, one more thing. I think, Stephanie, you were talking about, one of your issues was getting your children to understand the star chart. The only way a child understands the star chart is when they fail at it first. Yep. Because when you first present the star chart, they're going to be all like, yee, cool, I get a gold star there or whatever. But their habits still tell them that all of the stuff in their life, all the ketchup on the hot dogs and the chocolate milk and the chips and the cookies, they just got to climb up to the cupboard and the TV and the Wi-Fi and everything that they're used to. They're still just going to expect that stuff for free in the beginning. And that's why we have coaching, because it's the transition from feeding our fish to teaching them to become fishermen that is the hard part in this program. You've got a child who's 6, 7, 8, 10, 13, 15 years old, and they have already developed certain habits, right? They see the world habitually, they think habitually, they ask for things habitually, like everything's a habit. And so now we've got our hands on this program and we're going, oh, yes, everything's going to change. I'm going to put up the star chart. I'm going to start doing this. But your kids are still operating with old habits. And it's going to take a reward that they're willing to work for. And for my 15-year-old son, it was actually garlic bread. I didn't have to plan a trip to Disneyland. It was garlic bread at dinner. It pulled him through doing his school. It pulled him through his self-confidence. Because when he was actually motivated to do his school, and then he actually got good grades, then he actually said, Mom, I'm actually smart. Mm-hmm. I just figured that out at the age of 16 and a half or almost 17. Are you with me on this? So before we put up the star chart and we begin to just implement this brand new way, you need to have a really clear picture of what you're doing first. And you also need to be ready for the Tasmanian devil, I guess. Because if we went into the state of Texas and we just announced on TV that they're shutting down the welfare system and moving forward, you have to work for everything that you have, what do you think would happen in the state of Texas with all the welfare people? Would they be like, oh yeah, that's best for me. I need to work and earn my living. Funny. She laughed, but she didn't answer. That's hilarious. Okay. So a riot. Yes, Ken, a riot. Okay. Violent opposition. Yep. Violent opposition is going to happen before acceptance by self-evidence every single time. So if you're mentally prepared for that, you're going to have a lot more success. So I'm going to pass it over to Tom. He's going to do probably about 15, 20 minutes or however long it takes to draw out the star chart, all the ingredients of a star chart, and all of the wisdom. Is there wisdom in there? Because usually it goes hungry. It sounds empty. I hear an echo. Sounds kind of empty to me. I hear an echo. All right. There's a massive amount of wisdom in this head here. And yeah, we'll all just benefit from it with this amazing training. So I'm going to have to just turn the computer a little bit so that you can get the screen in there. Any comments or observations before we move forward? Actually, I'm just going to let you have it. No, I will come back.
Okay.
Now.
You might want to tilt it up.
Yeah, and you might want to speak right into the microphone. There's my star chart, everybody. Okay, hopefully you guys can see all that. And
okay.
Also, I hope it's not backwards. And you can take the microphone out and actually just hold it.
All right, we'll do something like that.
And
okay, first and foremost, you're going to need some interaction because this whole thing's going to work with your input. This whole thing is about you. Right? And so when you first start to type in, what is a star chart? Right? Those of you that have been studying, the reason why I'm kind of guiding this way is that we should be thinking about our quick study guides. If you don't have them with you, when would now be a good time to get them? And I want you to be able to focus on the star chart idea with your very first lists. Who can remember in your quick study guides that you made a list for you and you made a list for them? Let's see who's quick on the buzzers. Who's getting great scores on the pop quiz here? Let's take a look at what we got. Okay, I see yes. If we're playing hot and cold, what do we got? We got 51 things. Yes. Yes. So let's take a look here. Let's take a look here. All right. And who's open to actually role play here with me when we talk about these 51 things? Because this is all about the interaction. Otherwise, it's just a one-sided dictate to you. Okay, we got a me. Okay. Let's see what we got here. We got 2. Let's see if we can get more than one person on here. Okay, Marta, you are live. Can you go ahead and check in there, Marta? Hello, hello. And let's see. There we go. Take you off mute. Let's see why.
Hello, hello.
Oh, there we are.
Yes.
Okay, so Marta, you're on. And Brittany, are you on? Okay, well, see what you got for your end there, Marta. So go ahead and say hello.
Hi.
Hello. Can you hear
Okay,
me?
so I hear you now. So let's go ahead and let's get a few things started. When you talk about the star chart and you got the 51 things, Marta, go first. What do you have a list of? You've got a list of 51 things for two people, and who are they?
That's my children.
Okay. That's one of the lists, and who's the other person?
It's mine.
Say again?
It's mine for me. 51 things that are important to me and 51 things that are important to each child.
Yes. Yes. Okay. I'm gonna get organized here. This will be a first timer. Let's see what we can do to make this work. Okay, so Marta, explain a little bit here. When you got this thing set up, you got 51 things for you and you got 51 things for your kids. You got to put those together. And in the book and in the training, we referenced a certain mechanical mechanism that would be found on jackets or Levi's. What is it?
It's a zipper.
Yeah, it's a zipper.
Mhm.
So those of you that are actually on board here, type it in, a zipper, right? Tammy Bird. This, just by typing it in, allows it to lock into your mind. So type in, it's a zipper, right? These are the ones that want to get the most out of what's happening today. So Marta, explain a little bit of your understanding of this zipper.
The zipper comes together, both sides. The teeth click together, and they
Yes.
zip.
Yeah, and do the teeth alternate or do they take two at a time?
They alternate in order.
Yes. So when we look at the harmony, right? Goal, plan, action, perseverance, those also alternate, don't they?
Yes.
Okay. So when you're thinking about the star chart, it's a blending of what you must teach them, aka what you want. Manners, responsibility. We get the idea, but it's always going to be driven by whose desire. Whose desire, Martha?
Their desire, the children.
It's 100% theirs, right? It's 100% theirs. It's when we tap into that, that's when you get onto the positive side of the spectrum. Always has, always will. Okay? If it's not theirs and it's yours, what is the chart really should be called? Yeah, don't be shy. What should it be called, Marta?
Dictation chart.
Yeah, it should be a dictator chart. All right. This is something that I remember I found here just recently. in the archives. Let me know, Marta, if that shows up on the screen. Good for you.
Yes.
Okay. This is kind of like a prelude. I'd like you to start to see there's a methodology that is a guide for them to start to think, right? We're channeling in neurological pathways. And so the word goals, how many of us type in have an actual place for their children to put goals at? This is a yes or a no. Yes, I do, or no, I don't.
Yes.
Right? So type them in, everyone. Do you have a place? Yes or no? Okay. Now, this is what's really, really exciting or really, really powerful is that when a child asks for something, what is the rookie mistake that 99% of the population does? How do they answer? Type it in. What is it?
They say no.
Yep, that's one of them. What's the other one? Yeah, that's right. Stephanie, we say yes. I guess you could say I don't know. Maybe. Well, what does 99% of the population go back to your old stinking thinking mindset, right? The one that caused all these issues. No blame, just calling it what it is. A child wants something and you want them, you want to be popular. You'd like to be on the good side. You like them to like you, to love you. So you always say what?
You always say yes.
You always say yes. And then you're in that position where you're thinking, okay, this is not a good thing for them. Maybe it's a safety issue. Maybe there's a moral obligation that you have. There's always a reason behind it, and you say no. When you say yes or no, you're going to lose the game every single time. It's just a matter of time. How many of us would agree with that idea? Please type in yes or no.
Yes.
Okay, Tammy Berger, yes. Stephanie, yes. Yeah. Rhiannon, yes, yes. Excellent. So what game can we all relate to that we actually don't want to touch the sides? Come on now, we all come from the same time. Take out a spare ribs for $100. Do you remember this game, Marta? Type it in. Oh, who is it? Tammy Burr. Yeah, look at you quick on the buzz. It's Operation. How many of us remember playing Operation?
I didn't play that game.
Yeah, you can Google it, right? You can pull up a picture. You'll see it. Watch it. It's all about don't touch the sides. And see, when you get into these games, you can understand that touching the sides is saying automatic yes or an automatic no. You're going to get the it's not going to be something that's going to work. But it's that part in the middle. Right? It's that part in the middle that makes this all work. So first off, and right here, can you see what the very top there, right where my finger is, Marta?
Yes.
Okay, what's it say right there?
Goals.
Okay. Now, a goal is when a child looks at a goal, there's a question that they should be asking themselves. And it's right here. This was done like a couple years ago. It was actually sitting in storage. I'm really surprised that it still has all the chalk still written on it. But when Jenny and Zach would go through this philosophy, this idea, it's a goal. What are the three characteristics of a goal, Marta? A want,
Needs and desires.
a want, need, or desire. You can break those down. We won't go into it too deep here, but there's positive, negative, and neutral goals. Those are want, needs, and desires. But when they ever have a goal of something that's important to them, what is important to me? And so when your kids are starting to think of what is it they want to do, well, what's important to me? That's why they ask, Mom, can I go over to? All those things are goals. Now, if you were going to say yes or no, you're going to be on very thin ice. And it's only a matter of years before things start to really go to oh gosh, for sake of a better term, hell in a handbasket. You're not gonna last long. But that's what got us here. And we didn't know that we didn't know. So it's okay to play the I card, innocence. I didn't know. So how many of you have been able to direct your child to, I would love for you to have that. That's called a goal. And they mark it on their goal board or their goal chart or their vision board. Type in yes or no.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, I believe so. And Brittany, are you still on? I have you unmuted on our end. Okay. So what's important to me? That's what's so key. It's right there. It's that first part. Now, what we did over here is that when the kids would actually do it, how many of us remember from curious to serious? What's the technique there?
Write it down.
Yeah. Write it down on paper. It's got to go somewhere. Right? And then what we ended up doing is we ended up scheduling a time for us to meet to talk about their goals. And this could be like on a week-to-week basis. So I want you to see the methodology here. They're asking first for permission, right? What can I do? And then when they want to do it, how many of us have all known that we're all born impulsive? That would be a yes or a no for everybody.
Yes.
Okay. So you have, it really comes down to simplicity. You have two kids, one drinking fountain. They're both impulsive. What do you do? What's the missing life skill? And
Take
if you
turns.
agree with taking turns, type in a yes. Right? So making a schedule is about finding the best time for both of you. How many of us feel that there's absolutely no barrier between the children and yourself when it comes to their impulsivity?
Right.
Right? So the first and foremost, following the leader, monkey see, monkey do, playing Simon Says, being able to acknowledge, I love what you're asking. Right? I love what you're asking. I'm not saying yes and I'm not saying no, but we're showing them when is the time to share this. How many people like that idea? Type in a yes.
Yes. Very much.
All right. Once again, you're not saying yes or no. You're just validating. That's so powerful. It's just to be heard. So we would write down a time. We had once a week. We had 24 hours in advance. And then we also have, there's a software that has to do with money, but that'll be a different issue, not for today. So anytime that our kids are asking for things like a sleepover or can I go to my friends? How many times your kids are so smart, they know when to ask you and plead, please, 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 please. And it's all impulsive. Like, can I go spend a night at my friend's house? And it's like 10 minutes to 8 o'clock Friday night and you want to go now. And you feel like, well, yeah, that would be great. But so just by having anything of where they can put it and a 24-hour in advance, those are things that you need to put in first so they have their very first hoop to jump through. How many people see that, agree with that, and know that that would be a better way to go forward? Yes or no?
Yes. Better way, definitely.
Okay, I'm getting yes, 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 yes. Good. All right. So now, as you went down through this flow, right, what's important to me? That's the child talking, because the goal is all about them. If it's your goal imposing on them, do you see it as bribery now?
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. Exactly. It's bribery, right? Now, what do you like about this goal? See, that's the part that when you get them to expand, how many people remember the story of the dad who took his boy paintballing?
Yes.
Right? Type in yes if you remember this one. It's in the material, right? Bing, bing, bing. And it's that dad could have saved thousands of dollars if you would have just asked these questions. That's the moral of the story. It's a true story. So, what do you like about this goal, right? And then if you can see right below it, do you see where it says what MLS is stopping me from doing it all on my own? Can you see that, Marta?
Yes. Very good. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What does that question mean to you, Marta? When you see that question, who's that question for?
That's for me to teach.
You're getting warmer. Read it out loud one time.
What missing life skills is stopping me from doing it all on my own?
Okay, now, what section are we in right now?
Goals.
Yeah, we're in goals. What's that have to do with the parent?
None.
Right. So when you said, well, that's a question for me, something's not matching up. Are you feeling it?
Yes.
Okay, so what's the course correction? What's that question for?
It's for the child.
Right. Always has been, always will be. The essence of why Creating Champions for Life works with every single child, regardless of labels, is because it's about their internal spirit, their desire. This is so subtle, but it's the most powerful thing in the world. People always ask, why do you got all these kids that can do everything for you? I'm like, well, I didn't know how to explain at the time, but it was tapping into their desire. It's like, what makes them want to go? And so when a child can ask themselves, what missing life skill is stopping me from doing this all on my own?
Will they know?
No, they surely don't. What missing life skill is stopping me from doing this all on my own? But it got the child to do what?
Think.
Right. Type it in. If it means think, right? Type this in, everyone. This is for your locking it in. This is like writing it down. That question gets them to think. Because how many of us still remember the master plan? Knowing your role as a parent, we do for, right? Type it in, everyone. You know these. There's 7 words to cover 3 steps. Do for.
Do with, so they can do it on their own.
They can do it on their own. So what stage of the game are you at? If they're 2 and younger, I can see you doing everything for them. Maybe up to the age of 1, maybe 2. But out of 2, you should be out of that mode.
Yes.
Right? And when we're not, we create things. Things get out of disharmony. Nature's just letting you know you're off the mark. You're touching the side. Did you get the message?
Yes.
So when a child can ask that, well, what missing life skill? Then what it does is they start to look at you. Oh, that's why I got that big, tall 2-legger in my life. Oh, that makes sense. I'm starting to understand the creator's creation here of how we're supposed to interact. Okay. So now when I ask mom, can you show me how to do this on my own? That's really what's being asked, but the kid's brain doesn't ask it that way. How do they usually ask it, Marta?
I want.
Yeah. And then if it worked since they were a baby, why would they ever change it? And they go right into a cry. And cries take on a massive amount of forms, don't they?
Yes.
Right. Still the same thing. So right down there, the plan. You see where it says, this is what I am looking for, so now I can take action.
Yes.
See, when the child is looking to you and go, okay, I got this goal, show me how you do it. So what natural games can we play with this idea?
Follow the leader. Monkey see, monkey do.
Right? Type them all in, everybody. These are very important for you. What can you actually do? What games come to mind? Monkey see, monkey do. Follow the leader. Simon says.
Simon says.
Hide and go seek. That's exactly right. Mom, I can't find my shoes. Ha ha. I love this game. I love playing hide and go seek. Count to 10. Ready or not, here I come. Where could my shoes be hiding? Set your RAS filter. You start to think, oh, look what I found. Yeah, it's really exciting when you really tap into it. So plan. This is what we're looking for. Now, the plan is to do, be, and have anything and everything that is important to me. How many of us feel on a scale of 1 to 10 that your kids see you as their advisor?
Yes.
Type it in. They started off with you did everything for them. Some of us are still doing everything for them. And so all they do is just look at you as a vending machine. Just push the button. Just push the button. Get it for me. And when it doesn't work, what do most people do to a vending machine when their money gets stuck?
They're hitting it.
Yeah, they hit it. They call this inanimate object names. It's the most funniest thing to watch. Yeah, they kick it, shake it, beat on it. How many YouTube videos do we need to watch to see kids doing that to their parents? You can watch almost any Nanny 911 video, and you'll see that that's the exact same pattern. So now that a child has a plan, then the plan comes from you doing it first. What were those 3 steps? Parents do it first, and then what do, Marta?
They show it's to do with, so they can do it on their own.
All right. So they do it one time so they can see it. Then they mess it up or put everything back and then say, your turn. And of course, the child's not going to know how to do it. But this is the part where you've got to let them struggle. Who would agree with that? No or yes?
Yes.
Got a yes, yes, yes.
What should you be doing right now?
There we go. Okay. So now that they're starting to take action, right? This is what's so powerful. Right over here, maybe it's in the bottom. Let me tilt it down just a bit. There we go. Maybe you can see it at the very bottom right down here. Perseverance. That's the art of which game?
Turning obstacles into opportunities.
Yeah. What's the game? What's the game we played? It usually started with cards. They're not synonyms. Come on, type it in. Starts with an O.
Opposites.
Game of opposites. Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. It's a game of opposites. Can't is now what?
I can.
Yes. Who can tell me what principle 10 is all about? What is it? Type it in. Who knows the name of it? Should be right off the top of your head. Yeah, complaining. Yes, we always will have this recorded for a replay. Yes, complaining. Now, what's the 2 things that every single person, see, I know this first and foremost from 144,000 people that I've talked to on the phone about complaining. I'm playing this game and can't beat it. Well, I beat it, so what's the difference between me and you? What is it?
They don't know how or they don't want to.
Yeah, exactly. Don't know how or don't want to. That's the same thing for your child. It comes into 2 different words on the positive spectrum because that's double negatives. Don't know how, don't want to. Who knows what the other 2 are? One is educate. The other one is, starts with an M.
Motivate.
Yeah, exactly. Don't know how? Educate. Don't want to? Motivate. The motivation comes from which principle? Knowing the
reward.
Yeah, type it in. There it is. That's principle 6. Are we starting to see how all 12 pieces create a staircase to go from where you're at to where you need to go. And that's the same thing for your kids. It's that obstacle. And if how many people always say, oh, it's always just simple to do it before or for them, right? So perseverance, obstacles and opportunities. Oh, this is kind of hard. Excellent. Look at you with your finding your first challenge. And once again, what's the plan, right? You keep going back. What were the steps? Well, it says I have to do this. Okay, don't know how, don't want to. Then you'll know exactly where to guide them. If they don't want to, how much money did you just save by not taking them paintballing?
Right.
In this case, it was thousands. So now this might be a little bit of a sore spot, but I'm going to push on it anyways because that's what I do to do my job. How much money do you think you've overspent by bribing and giving your kids things that they never earned? Oh, this is a big number.
A lot of money.
Who's going to be honest and actually type it in? Thousands? Too much? I like this one. Way too much. Thousands. Yes.
No one does it too.
So many Lego sets. Yes. We have millions of pieces. Exactly. Okay. So, anyone have questions, comments, or observations on just this basic flow of goal, plan, action, perseverance?
You get a 5 too. This is very good, Tom. It explained it to me from back to the basics: goal, plan, action, perseverance. Because I kind of was stuck on the star chart and drifted away from the formula. So this is really
See, it always comes true. What did I drift away from?
right.
You see, the negative energy of the world wants you to become a drifter. The positive side would like for you to be a thinker. It's a whole world of difference. That's why it gives so much credibility or power to self-control of committing to it. Passing that baton that here you are, little Timmy. You can do everything I can. That's the game. All right. Thousands of pieces and nephews and cousins. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And what's the return on that investment? Slim and none, right? Okay. So once again, type in either no questions or you have a question on this process. I need interaction, please. 0, no, nope, no questions. Okay. Got it. All right. See, it's all about that guiding part, right? It's all about letting them know what it is that they got to do. So we're going to jump into the star chart here. So now let's look at that zipper. Who's got their quick study guides set up for life skills that they need to teach? Who's got it? And I'd like you guys to type in, like, let's start with something simple. What was a life skill that you've already passed on to your kids that they do all on their own? A real common one would be little Timmy can tie his shoes. I don't have to do that anymore. So let's start off there. Oh, I love humor too. Yeah, being mouthy. Well, you know what? Great job on teaching that life skill because you had to be mouthy for them to mimic. Huh? No, yes, Stephanie. Full clothes, take a shower, right? Getting themselves dressed, make toast, and simple meals. Okay. Now, as you're looking at your list, you have your kids typically until the age of 18, right? Yeah, write their own name. Yes, make toast. Okay. So what is the actual life skill that you're working on transferring to them? They used to do it for them, but at least you're now starting to do together. What is that? What's the one you're working on currently?
Going to bed on time is for me.
Yeah, going to bed on time is one. And I don't know if Brittany, if you're still there, you are unmuted as far as to communicate. Getting them to take their dishes to the sink, dishwasher, okay?
What?
Making their to-do lists. Okay, responding when spoken to. Okay, time management on tasks. Okay. So you have a motivation to pass this on, right? You're knowing your role is to teaching those missing life skills so they can do this all on their own. Make their bed, be ready for school. Yeah. Okay. So that's what is your motivation, right? That's your goal. And you're blending their goal and your goal, and that's where those teeth click, 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 click to come together. Is this making sense? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So now, why would the child even care what you have to teach? Because they don't.
Because they want their reward.
Right. Who would agree with Marta? They want something, right? Yeah, they want something. So they can get what they want. Absolutely. That's the desire inside of us. That's the plus side. That's that curiosity. It's like, how can I make it work? You'd be amazed on how fast kids can learn things from their friends because it's all about that monkey see, monkey do. Well, I want to do that. Well, what do you got to do? Do it just like this. And they're playing follow the leader with their friends. And we're missing out on the biggest thing because we're sitting back going, yes, no, yes, no. And we don't even know that we don't even know yet. Okay. All right. So now you've got the list of what they want. You've got the life skills that you want, that you're teaching. That's how simple the star chart really is. How you put it together is as simple as your full tear exercise. No or yes?
Yes.
We're all going to be following the exact same simple steps, fold, tear, fold, tear, fold, tear. But look at the embracing your own uniqueness. This has got to be one of the biggest hangups that ignorance, when they come into the program, they're like, well, just give me the chart so I can copy it. And it's like, you're missing the actual philosophy. You're missing the actual psychology of it. You're missing the actual creation, the way this creator created everything. Because when you do, you'll get out of yes and no totally entirely, and you'll be right there in the balance, in the sweet spot. So that's how these things start to work. So now let's look at, let me pull this back up there. So we've got the board. So tell me, is there anybody else that would, here we go. Let's see if that unmutes you. Okay, Brittany, are you on?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Okay, good. We got that one figured out. So you've got a little bit of background with the kids that you're working with. Is there any questions or comments that you have on this as it pertains to there? Because it's exactly the same, whether they're your kids or not.
Hold on just a minute. Let me get my chart out.
Okay.
So,
And
hold on.
go ahead,
Hold on.
Brittany.
No, I was going to say that I created my goal chart for the kids that I'm going to be working with in, my program. And, on it, I have showing respect for after-school school teachers and parents, showing respect for other kids at school and after-school program, using manners, self-control, cleaning up after themselves, treating belongings and equipment with respect, and then
Okay.
participate.
So we can summarize that. That's a perfect list, Brittany, and it can go on for thousands, right? So type
Right.
in everybody that's there. What are those actually called? What are they? Type them in.
Goals,
Missing what?
life skills.
Missing life skills.
All right. Life skills. MLS. Absolutely. One of the neatest things that always triggers in my head, and it will do the same when you really see this for what it truly is. Every time a child has been given a label, or a parent labels, or they got this whole concept of labeling, just know that they also have, oh, he's got ADHD. Oh, excellent. Probably sounds like he's got MLS too, right? Because that mindset thinks that there's some kind of branding label, right? There's something wrong. Yeah. Okay, well, I'll work with you. Sounds like he's got MLS too. And they're like, well, what's that? Missing life skills, right? So just see that that's really what the labels truly are. Is there any other way to think of it other than missing life skills? Please type in yes or no. Okay. So how do you want to do this here? How do you want to, what can I show you as far as a star chart? Talk to me. What is it that you need that you don't see yet? What's the obstacle? Either type it in, or Brittany and Marta, go ahead and share it.
Well, what I have created so far, I think as far as trying to make sure like a bare minimum sticker out, or excuse me, bare minimum sticker, average sticker, or outstanding sticker. And I'm actually making sure to make the goal chart simple for the kids that I'm going to be working with, because they're going to be first through third graders. So
Well, you started off simple for regardless of the grade or the age. Just keep that
okay,
always crystal clear. The age and the grade is irrelevant.
okay,
Look how old a lot of us are. We're just starting to keep everything very simple, right? But what it
right,
sounds like to me is that's something that's your goal, not the kids.
okay,
So that's something that you want to know how to do, right?
right.
Okay. Who else has got something in here? Okay. How to add new skills without losing progress on first skills and keep charts simple. Okay. Well, let's do this here. You've got a chart. Let's say you just build a chart really, really simple, right? Keep it very simple, everyone, right? Because we can make it too much of what we want when we're off the mark. But you have morning time, right? So let's say you've got your morning, you've got afternoon, and you have evening. Now, who remembers what is the 3 times that is the best window that the kids are motivated? Type it in.
Before meals.
Yeah, before meals, exactly. Who would agree? Type in yes or no. Yeah, before they eat. We all are. Now, if I'm like you, you're like me, my mom, I'd come here, I'd be all ready to go, and she'd be like, it wasn't a dictation. It wasn't anything yes or no. She would just say, well, we got to wash our hands before we eat, right? She'd ask a question. Well, what should we do with our hands first? What is one thing that you would absolutely draw the line in the sand that they must do first before they eat? Type it in.
Wash hands.
You know, this is just part of being the parent. Just like step into your role and be like, I'd love for you to eat. what do you do before you eat? Do you wash your hands? Now, this is very, very key because a dictator is also a hypocrite. And hypocrites, nobody follows. Who do you know that's a hypocrite that you follow? Because our kids won't. Okay. All right, nobody. So you've got the morning time. What's the very first game that you should start to be playing before you even tackle a star chart? What's that elementary game? Type it in.
Simon Says.
Yeah, Simon
Okay.
Says.
Follow the leader.
Follow the what? There you go, Tammy. You got it, Brittany. That's right. Follow the leader.
Follow the leader.
Now, this is probably what is coming to you that you didn't expect coming. You're probably thinking we're going to be covering something else, but this is how the star chart works. Without these, that's why people don't get how they work when they say they don't work, because they don't know how to work it. They're in dictation mode. They're bribing. They're overcompensating. That's all negative. How can you build up any kind of momentum when you're always doing subtraction?
Right.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Type it in.
Yes.
Right. You can't. So every time you approach it that way, you always give it to them. You always say no. You're always in the negative. Right? Because if you always give it to them, you honestly, you're sending a message that you believe that they can't learn, or they can't do it on their own, or they wouldn't be able to figure it out quick enough to be at a speed that you are in this fast-paced world. That's really the message that's being said. And if you disagree, please say no. But if you agree, type in yes. Does that make sense?
It makes lots of sense. Yes.
So we got yes, yes, yes. Okay. So first and foremost, the idea is to play any one of these games. And the list is huge. Right? Simon Says, follow the leader, monkey see, monkey do. What if it was time for who wants to be my kid? Martha or Brittany? Pick.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
I can
So
go.
you're both hungry. It's time for dinner. And you come to the table. Hey, Martha and Brittany, are you hungry?
Yes.
Yes. There you go.
Yeah. So am I. I'm going to get myself ready for dinner. How about you? As I ask the question, where do you see me? Do you see me still standing, or do you see me walk down the hall to the bathroom and wash my hands?
I see
Walking
you.
down the hallway to wash your hands.
What were you going to say, Martha?
I see you going to wash your hands.
So now the child is going to do one of two things. What's the child going to do? Type it in.
You're gonna
And
follow.
it really comes down to two
Follow.
things, right? Yeah, they're either going to engage or ignore, right? Copy, follow you. Exactly. There's that follow the leader, right? Let's go back to like things that are just absolute power. Who's older? Who decided to have kids? Right? Who's the leader? Where's the leadership? Where's the universal law of cause and effect? Right, I am. Exactly. You're starting to see this on a better level. It's so simple. So now that you go ahead and you sit down and you're ready to eat, you're starting to eat. Well, I'm hungry. I want some too. I would love for you to have some. What has to happen so you can eat? What did mom do so she can eat? Especially when the kids are like, well, he gets to eat. How come he can and I can't? 9 times out of 10, they did what was required, aka missing life. What?
Life
Skills.
Missing life skill. Wash your hands. Right? And so when you can see this leadership, you don't need their permission to do this. You don't need somebody to praise you outside, a family member, and go, well, they can just eat. I ate dirt when I was a kid. You're going to get ridiculed because ignorance and negativity have no other way to compliment you other than those factors. So ridicule and violent opposition is the way the negative side actually cheers you on. That's why you should get excited when you get ridiculed and violent opposition, because the next step of accepting you by self-evidence, they finally go, boy, you're right. I should have been paying attention. You really know what you're doing. I get it. So these are the 3 times. Morning time. Type in one thing. What's one thing that you would like your kids to do first before they eat breakfast outside of washing your hands? Type it in. What's it? Look on your list. What is it? Get dressed. Get dressed. I like it. Get dressed. Right?
They asked me to check their list.
Right. A lot of times that's a little bit later, right? That's when they're on board. But before that, it's just to have them do something. You got these 3 checkpoints to establish leadership with just simple games. Who's with me?
Yes.
Yes.
We got a yes. Tammy's with us. Who else? Okay. If you haven't graduated this part yet, how well do you think you'll be doing with the star chart in general?
So. Average.
Not
Here and
very
there.
well.
Poorly? Not very good? Messy? Congratulations. How awesome is it that if this was the only thing that you missed was to establish leadership of playing a game, follow the leader. Simon says, monkey see, monkey do. Which one do you think you're going to use moving forward just to get breakfast, lunch, or dinner process started? Which one works for you?
Follow the
You
leader.
could do all. Yep. You could definitely do all. Only one person's going to do one? Nope, there's another one. Follow the leader, follow the leader. You see, so when the children start asking for things, they start to see you in a different role. You're the one to show them the shortest, quickest, fastest way to get what is most important to who?
Them.
To them.
Yeah. That's the power. So when you've got your star chart, you can make it any way you want. It's the idea is to get there, and did they do it? In this particular case, it would be like a yes or a no. What other option is there? None. Exactly. Who agrees with Tammy? None. See, so if you really want to do the star chart, this would be like, say, the very pre-beginning levels of getting this in order. Use those times to eat to establish that cause and then the effect. How many of us are starting to see that I was giving the kid the cause and the parent was being the effect? Oh, he's crying. He's getting upset. He's starting to throw things. I better calm him down. I better get what he needs because otherwise he won't be happy. Who can start to really see this if you're open to just call it what it is?
Absolutely.
Yes, yes. Oh, yeah. This right here is where I would start with the star chart just to get going, right? This is so powerful. For my children, it's a ride to school. They work for because they don't really eat meals with us anymore. Is this okay? So let me just make sure I'm on the right page, because we can go down the wrong path for a very long time. But if they're not eating meals with you anymore, so that means that they what? Have their own refrigerator, they pay their own electricity, they buy their own groceries? No or yes? Stephanie? Now what I'm starting to see, half the time they leave without eating. Okay. So in this particular case, how far off the mark do we have to be to get to this point? A little or a lot? Remember, there's no judgment here. You just got to call it what it is.
A lot.
Right? I see it as a lot also. Do you see it, Stephanie? Just waiting for you to type in. So with this being said, yes. So once again, who has to feed them? Right? You do owe them food, clothing, and shelter. You owe them 3 basic things. That's it. Everything else is earned. Let me go into this real quick. This is so powerful. Any questions on this idea before you get going, before we switch?
It is clear.
Okay. I don't
It's
see anybody
clear.
there, so we'll take this off real quick. Okay. Now, this is part of the shift. See, how we got here is if we start this like this, right? Start it where it really is. How many of us, and this should be an automatic yes, but we got to do it anyways. How many of us gave things to our kids with this idea that they would hit a magic age and be like, okay, I'm responsible now, or I'll actually do what I needs to do to be responsible?
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you start off at a 0, I want you to look at 0. We start off at a 10. Right? Right down here at 0. You owe them what 3 things? I want you to type them in. What are the 3 things that we have Child Protective Services for? You have to do a bare minimum.
Food, clothing, and shelter.
All right. So there it is. Food, clothing, and
Shelter.
shelter. That's the base. That's like bare minimum, right? Everything you got, that's all you need to do. Okay? It's when we give them, well, type it in. What's some of the things that we gave our kids? A new bike, new
Ice
clothes.
cream.
Come on, what is it? Type it in, everyone. Games.
Sports camps, activities.
Yeah, toys, ice cream. What else we got going on here? Yeah, trips, Legos, iPad. Okay. Now, how many of us can type in and be like, big mistake, or no, I felt good doing that?
Huge mistake.
Oh, I love you guys. You guys are so awesome. I just love this. Big capital letters. I love it. All right? Because when you really think about it, you pick ice cream, iPad, right? Just basic stuff here. You gave it to them. It's up here as a 10. And then do you somehow at least expect them to, I don't know, help out, maybe help in the yard, do something in the kitchen, clean your room, right? Just type in a yes if that would be like an idea. Like you get them some ice cream, you get them a game. You'd start to expect a few things like, well, yeah, duh.
Yes.
Okay. So you give them at a 10, and how much, honestly, on a scale of 1 to 10, do they really put out as far as effort?
None.
Yeah, it's usually none, right? Because we trained them. Like, who trained them to do nothing and get everything? Yeah, we did. Yes, that's exactly right. So, but if you had that, now this ice cream, if that was up here, do you see why it'd be so important to say that's a goal? I'd love for you to have some ice cream. And it's the process that we keep, is that there's certain things you have to do to get the ice cream. Well, you got to go to the store. You got to have a freezer. You got to have spoons. You got to have bowls. You got all these things that are in place that the parent knows, but the child doesn't. And if you want to buy into that idea of like, well, to be a good parent, you just get them everything they need. Well, how's that working out, right? We look at that and we're thinking, guys, that's got to be the worst advice I've ever been told. But what were the 3 games we were playing? Monkey see, monkey do. What else?
Follow the leader.
Follow the leader.
Simon says.
Simon says. Those are just a few. So if you got the B ice cream, what if you actually did the steps and got yourself a bowl and be like, okay, well, your turn. How many people see that as like really a smart way to go, or is that like totally cruel and unusual? Type it in. I see fair.
Very confronting, right?
Way to go. Smart. All right. Because when you start to think about it, let's say that they put out bare minimum, right? Like, you know this. So they give them a 10. Marta or Brittany, pick a number between, and you guys type it in. Type in a number between 1 and 10. The first number
10.
that comes to mind. I see a 4. I see an 8. 5, 6. 14, 23 divided by 4. That makes it basically an average of about a 6. So we'll go right up here to about a 6. So you gave them what they wanted, which was a what?
A 10.
A 10.
Yeah.
They did put out some effort. And I just averaged the numbers real quick and it came up with a 6. So let me ask you this. We're going to use math here, right? We're talking creator language. It's mathematics. How do you get to the number? Let's go. You gave them a 10. How do you get to 6 from a 10? And how do you get from 0 to a 6? Who's open to work with me on this?
You deduct from the 10
Yeah.
and you add to the 0.
You're right. Okay, so I'm starting to see this. So if we got the 2 equations, we got 10 minus 4 equals your 6. If I'm following Tammy correct, yep, you do the minus 4, and then you've got 0 plus 6 equals 6. Now, how many of us used to think that we were doing positive parenting on any fractal, any kind of like possibility?
Yes.
First is negative, the second is positive. Look at you just thinking. Now you've been around the block, you get this. But how many of us used to think positive parenting? We were being positive parents. Come on now, this is the time to really call it what it is.
It was positive for me to think that putting Georgia in a corner is positive.
Well, it is compared to beating him over the head with a 2x4. That's extremely positive, but it's still in the negative side. It's going from -6 to a -3. You're still on the negative side of the equation.
Right.
The one's more positive, just relative. I used to think so. Yeah, exactly. So when you look at what you're really creating, right, you got this whole star chart. you're doing Starchart without a Starchart. So you're like, oh, here, little Timmy, here's your bike. Here's your ice cream. Here's your iPad. You gave it to them out of what? Type it in.
10.
What did they have to do for it?
Nothing.
Nothing, right? They did nothing. There's a deficit of 10 units. And then when you start to ask for help around the house, they can't be bothered. So what's the old classic thing to do?
Take away.
Take it away. And somehow that threatening of motivating, of taking it away, that fear is enough to motivate them to get something done. But when you're not around, they're only going to do it when you're there. Okay? But if you shift it around, when you start the Starchart and you start to have this concept, the Starchart will manifest magically on your own when you grasp this. You start off at 0. I would love for you to have a what?
iPad.
I don't know. Can you see it from where you're at, Martha?
iPad.
Brittany, yeah. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. I would love for you to have the iPad. Right? If they only put out a 6 effort, how much of that iPad did they really get?
About average.
So if it costs $20 and you only have 10, how many people in the store are going to work with you?
Nobody.
No one.
So how are we really preparing our kids? Because we cover the deficit. What are we, a government assist program? Yeah, you just put out $6 and we'll subsidize everything for you. So when you turn 18, and it's no wonder you're so depressed because you know that you can't do anything on your own. Who created that? Not on purpose.
I did.
We did. And when we really grasp that, that's where we have the truth on our side. We can really power through what needs to be done. So evidently you're going to be working in the negative. I gave you this, you only gave me this, and I'm going to take it back. Negative, negative. But if you start them off at 0 and everything that they did got them to move towards it, that's what your Starchart is going to be representing. That's where your bare minimum, average, and outstanding will start to manifest. Yes. Nothing takeaway. We weren't. I did. I win-win. Yes. Okay. This is really about as far as we could probably go on the Starchart idea until you start getting these 2 philosophies and the mindset in the proper order. Would that be a yes or a no? Type it in, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I've got a yes from Ken. Who else? Yes, no. There's one. Yes. 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 All right. Now, this is kind of fun. Let me just ask you this here. How many of us thought we were going to see something different today than what was presented?
I
I
did.
know it's a rhetorical question, but
Yes.
I want us to see our mindset.
I was thinking maybe something a little different, but
Yeah, exactly. Because our whole mindset is thinking this Starchart is a dictator. If you've always been dictating to our kids, or always on that takeaway, right?
right.
It's very key. So we'll cover more as we go on with the Starchart because it can take on a whole nother level. Let me plant a seed with you. How many of us have looked up Google on what they say it costs to raise a kid?
I have.
Okay. I was just reading a couple of the comments here. Okay. So what was the question I just asked, Brittany? Refresh my memory.
How many of us have taken a chance to look on Google to see how much it costs to raise a child?
Thank you. And if you have done that, type in the number. If we do, we'll talk about it. If we haven't, then that's going to be something we need to do.
250,000.
Yeah, 250. Ken, you had one that says 233. If we could all be on the same page, they want us to believe that we're supposed to spend, right? This is probably coming from consumerism. They want us to spend $250,000 per kid. And these are for the ones that have no labels. Now, how many
Right.
parents are looking forward to doing that?
Not many.
Yeah, not me, not me. And when you reach 18, like, okay, I spent $250,000 and gave them all this stuff, and now it's their turn. How's the baton going to get passed? It's not.
It's not.
That's the product that we got to see. So now, what if, and this is where I want to leave this as a hook so we can plant the seed and see where the ministry side of all this would be, where parents should be paid to raise their kids. I want you to see this and just type in yes or no if you can grasp this at this stage. What if we honestly went back to food, clothing, and shelter? Like, really, like, what's bare minimum food, bare minimum clothing, and shelter for your child, right? You start off there, and everything that they wanted. Remember that list of 51 things that they want, all those things that are privileges? Who remembers writing out the privilege list on module number 1? Right, it's right there.
Yes.
Everything else is a privilege list. If you haven't done it, when would now be an important time to have this done? Because if you don't have this done, it's when you have it done, the star chart can actually come alive. Right? You can really start to see that that's that privilege. Everything else is a privilege. If they put out some, how much did they get?
Some.
So,
Who agrees with some? Right? If they put out a
yes.
3, they get a 3. They put out a 6, they get a 6. If they put out a 10, they get a 10. There's your bare minimum, average, and outstanding. Who's with me? Type in yes or no. Okay, and I'd like to wrap up with this one last thought. If they're talking $250,000, that's somewhere between $12,000 to $14,000 a year. Just round it down to $1,000 a month. What if you were to take that exact same money and put it into a account? You don't spend anything on your kids other than these 3 things here. And what they put out, they actually earn. Do you see the concept? Do you see the idea? Do you see the philosophy? That your children can earn as much as they want. The money's just sitting there waiting for them. And the money that they're short, you're training yourself to teach your kids missing life skills. Who can start to see that amazing idea? Type in yes or no, please.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, for sure. Like, what was this great idea? It's like, hello. I mean, we know it at work. Okay. This is all awesome. I would like to leave with this thought, this idea. We have a software that you can use to make this work, because every time a child has clothing, it is amazing what they do when they can earn that money and go buy their own clothes. All the extra food that they want that's beyond just a basic meal of the day. Same. Everything that they want in their bedroom, other than just a place to sleep. They build their whole bedroom, like they're furnishing their whole house. It's all there. And when we get into the ministry side, this is where we're parenting from our spirit. And I'd like you to see that there is a way that we can make this happen. I've done it. And it would be getting you guys ready. And this is what's going to be important. I want to plant a seed for you on this to be able to come up on the screen. How many of us know what a triforce is? Like, who knows what the word or the prefix tri means?
3.
Yeah, like tricycle, right? Now there's a triangle. What we're going to be introducing when a ministry comes out is there's going to be the self-control training. There's going to be responsibility training. There's going to be self-discipline. These are going to be the three cornerstones that are absolutely imperative that I work with these kids. Every single child that we instilled this with them, there was nothing that could stop them. This whole idea was gone, but you have to have it first. You've got to have your self-control. You got to have your responsibility and your self-discipline. When you put these three things together, it creates your Triforce. Without having a trained Triforce, you are dead in the water attempting to raise kids, period. And when you've got them in your corner, all of these things go right into place because you are equipped to go out there and do the deal. It's the sparring. It's the actual part to be in the battlefield. Mother infantry, if we want to call it. Infantry at its best. Because if you have self-control, what does it stand for, Brittany or Marta?
I am in
Self-control.
control of my body and my actions.
Exactly. This is where you be able to pick. Am I going to be able to pick start at 0 and go up? Or are they going to just bully me over and I'm just going to get it to them just to make it through the day? Who has that control?
The parent. Or
Right.
you.
But if you're not able to pick it when you're in the field working with your kids, how are you going to make anything work? Honestly.
You're not.
And so this is where we're going to have a format set up that's going to allow you to commit to that. That's going to be your own personal life skill training that you might have missed. I want to plant this seed with you because what if, and I've seen it happen, and I've got hundreds of cases of this where we've done it anywhere. Type in the numbers real quick. What were the numbers again? 235, 225, 250. How many thousands was it?
250,000.
Yeah. Type it in again for me, everyone. What was the numbers? Okay. Perfect. Now, how many of you would love to cut that number down? 50K, 100K, or 150K? Type it in which one you would like to do. Which one would you go for? Just a bare minimum amount, an average amount, or an outstanding amount?
Bare minimum.
Yes. When you really, really start this process and you really, really are going to be serious about it, I can train you and teach you how to get here. And look how much money they want you to spend, but there's no reason to spend it. We're not doing our proper procedure. Our kids can earn the stuff. So, all right, I want to plant that seed. This is very important. But start with your 1, 2s, and 3s. Okay, let's go through and let me go right in here. Real quick, Marta, was there any other questions or comments that you had or observation?
I had a question about the privilege list and how they earn the points on it, and how do you tie it in with the star chart? That's where I'm at right now. I don't know how to grant the points.
Okay, let me make sure I'm understanding you're correct. You want to know what's the difference between the bare minimums that you owe them and a privilege? Is there a question there?
No, the privilege, the points that are tied into the privileges, like you have the TV and there's a set amount of points. Is that the stars or what are the points? I don't understand that.
Okay. Well, first off, let's just back up. What's the goal?
The goal is to earn a new tube and a tire for his bike.
Okay. So this is the goal. I'd love for you to have that, right? And where does it go? It goes on that list. Remember?
On the
Right? We had it over here. Right? You have a section where his goals go. No or yes?
Yes.
Good. That's where they go. Now, how do you make it happen? That's the plan that you share with him, right?
Yes.
So what's the steps that makes the tire show up, right? You write those down. How many of those are you going to be able to teach the child?
All of them.
Okay. Now there's the plan. That's how I do it. And then monkey see, monkey do, you follow. And how many of those will they actually do?
All of them.
Okay. And when they do, then the tire shows up.
Okay.
That's it. Is it money to buy it that they're working towards they don't have? Is it to get to the store, where to find it, where to buy it? Where's the
Is it-
confusion?
Right. It's money. They have to engage in the Starchart in order to have a paycheck to go buy the tire and the tube.
Okay. So how much is the tire and the tube?
The total is, what was it, Georgie?
No, it was 1805.
1805.
Okay. So you can use the star chart is there's monetary towards things that will work towards that goal. What can he do in the morning that would be up and beyond what he's supposed to be doing? Do you see how you can start to give value for these different things? And then he's going to do them because he's motivated to get the tire. You don't have to encourage him. He'll already do them.
Right.
And if he goes halfway through and stops, look how much money you just saved yourself by not getting it and thinking he'll do it later.
Perfect. Yes.
Right? Sometimes we can do too much too soon, too fast, and we complicate it, but we just got to keep it simple. And I think there was something that was happening today with Giorgio.
Yes, it is. He's right here.
Yeah. Hello, Giorgio.
Hello.
Yeah, I heard that you had something that you came back to mind that you remembered from our last conversation.
I have two.
You had two. What's the first one? What's the one you remembered?
When I get to join accountability calls.
How did you hear about accountability calls, Giorgio?
Mom does
Oh. So what is it about an accountability call that you like?
talking.
Yeah, you get to talk to somebody. What else?
That's it.
Ah, see? Sometimes that's all there is. So when would you like to join an accountability call? What would you do that for? What are you working towards?
Right now,
Yeah, what are you working towards?
having watermelon.
Oh, tell me about this tire. You need a tire for your bike.
Yeah. It's 20 times 2.125 Bell standard and self-sealing tube. It's the tube is 20 inches. It's cost $5.22. The tires cost $11.88 plus tax, and it all equals $18.05.
Nice. Look at all that homework you've been doing. You're sounding pretty smart there. How did you figure that stuff out?
I researched.
Nice. You know, we play that we call that a game. It's called hide and go seek. You ever play it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Outside of my friends, because that's the best place to play it.
Yeah. That's what research. Re means again, search is to go find. So you're out there finding the answers. Did you find that on the internet or did you ask somebody?
I found it on Amazon and Walmart.
Wow, look at you playing hide and go seek on the internet. Good job.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have an option for you if you would like to do an accountability call. How long do you think you're gonna need before you can get that tire, all that money made? How long? What's your goal? 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
1 week
Wow.
for the paycheck.
Okay.
When I be have self control with screen with the sneaking,
Mm-hmm.
and Mama will only pay for the days that I'm truthful.
Right. Absolutely. That's how it works. You gotta do the work before you get paid. That's how it works. So I'll tell you what, in 2 weeks, we're gonna have another one of these calls. Do you think you'll be ready by then?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm going to be your accountability partner. You're going to come back in 2 weeks and you're going to have it done or not done. Which one do you choose?
With the tire
Yep.
done.
Okay. I'm looking forward to it.
My dad has to fix it though. I have to earn his. He has to earn my attention before he fixed it.
Right. Look at you. Now you're already working on your next goal. Once you get the tire, now you're going to be able to put it together. Look how smart you are. You're really onto something there.
Thank you.
Yeah, good job. I look forward to it. We'll talk again in 2 weeks on accountability. Who's holding you accountable to what's most important to you?
Me.
Yeah, who else?
You.
That's right. That's called teamwork. And then moving forward, do you think you might be able to have an accountability partner with your mom? Can you
What do you,
see that maybe your mom could be an accountability partner for you too, or is it you don't see that yet?
yes.
Which one?
Both.
Okay. So we're planting a seed. So in 2 weeks, we're going to talk and then we'll be able to take the next step. Fair enough?
Yeah.
Great job.
I had another question.
Okay, real quick. What is it?
How much is the actual money to join it? Join CCFL.
Oh, that is a good question. You know why I would love to answer it? You know what we're going to do first?
What?
You show me you get that tire, and then I'm going to be able to show you what that possibility could be. Make sense?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Giorgio.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So how many of us saw yes and no not being answered, but giving him a to-do first before he can make it happen? Type in a yes if you can see that. Yeah. Okay. So same concept. Same. All right. As we go through, was there any other comment or observation that you have that you'd want to share before we wrap up? Brittany?
Oh, yes, I had a question about, I guess, my program, and I'm starting it with another after school program. And one of the ladies is doing research, and she wanted to know proof of you working with over 2,000 kids. So that's my only question.
She wants to know if it's real, like proof, like there's a real Santa Claus.
Yes, for her, not for me. But
Gotcha.
you know my answer.
Absolutely. Well, in that case, if she wants to know, then have her go right to the horse's mouth. You can either have her reach out to me on my email. That would be Thomas at Creating Champions for Life. And then I can set up a time to actually talk to her with her if she needs be to talk to a real person.
Sounds good.
Absolutely. I know it's going to sound like a Santa Claus thing. It's like, really? How did this work? All right, perfect. All right, I think we got a couple other people here. Let me go down. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and take you off here. Mute there. Mute there. All right, so let's see. Who do we have here? Might have went through. Quick question, Ruth. Did you want to? Let's see here.
Hello?
Okay, there you are. Go ahead, Ruth.
Yes. This is more of a technical question. I don't know if you've heard of an app called Busy Kid. And if so, what do you think about it?
App
So,
is a busy kid. Well, first off, there's a million things that are out there. What's your goal? What is it you're looking to
okay.
do?
Well, it's a way that it's kind of like a star chart in a way, but it's like each task has a monetary value to it, and you get to approve, their time card, so to speak, and you give them the money through there, and it goes into their own little like debit card.
Hmm.
So
Okay, I do. I see what you're saying. If that's something that you're excited about, there is a software that we know of that we've done with the kids before, and there's an account and everything. They have things like that already. But before
okay.
you're ready to use something like that, what do you think you need to establish before you get into the monetary part?
What the rewards
Right,
are.
getting that follow the leader process going.
Mhm.
Right,
Mhm.
very very key. There'll be lots of tools. It's like a cell phone, right? It's got a lot of power, but unless we've got the philosophy behind it, it's usually not going to be worked correctly. That's what we're all talking about. Yeah.
Mhm.
But if you saw something, you can go ahead and you can email that in anything you
Okay.
want, and we'll take a look at it and give you an idea. But what I want to press upon you is that these tools that are out there
Mhm.
aren't the magic. That's like a TV. There it is. Put the kid in front of it. It's a babysitter, right? We're cutting a corner on something. The first thing is that you be able to create it yourself without any kind of app.
Of
That-
course.
That's going to be the secret.
Yes.
Yeah. Great question. Great question. Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right. Perfect. Thank you. All right. So let's see. Was there who else have? Marta, Ruth, Ken. I think you might have had a question here. Let me see if I can get you here. Okay. So let's see if Ken, if you can be unmuted here. All right, Ken, you open?
Yeah, no, that wasn't me, Thomas, that asked the
Okay.
question. I think it was Ruth.
Okay. So any other questions or comments or observations that you have before we wrap up? For you, Ken.
No, that was really good, really helpful.
Okay. Good. All right. Was there anyone else down here? Ruth, you had a question. Just go ahead and let's real quick. If anybody else is there, type in yes, I have a question, or put no, I'm good, just so I can go ahead and get a good clarification. Okay. No thanks. All right. Anyone else? Just type something in. Yes. No thanks. Good. No, I'm good. This was great. Thank you. All right. Well, excellent. I'm glad this could be a huge, big part. Get started with that process. And it's all about getting into the right time frame, right? Starting off at the zero. And I know we're going to have to undo a lot of bad habits, right? Because we gave everything and then we were working backwards. But if you start back here and moving forward, it is a transition. Module 4 is a really good place to dive in deep to find a lot of those transitional techniques. All right. Well, good. With that being said, we'll go ahead and wrap up. There will be a recorded for this link, and you'll be able to see it again. for those that may not have made it all the way through. All right. Good job, everyone. We'll talk again very soon. Bye for now.